And we're live. How you doing?
Great. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. I thought we'd open up with a story,
Okay.
a situation that you've shared that happened years ago. But the idea of it is that sometimes you don't get a second chance in
Right.
life with certain circumstances. So share with us the story of the gentleman that lost a great opportunity.
Yeah. So there's actually two stories there. Okay. So, and the reason being is because this opportunity came to me, okay, because of something that I had previously done. So I'll share with you that story because that was impactful in my life. And then it kept getting bigger and bigger. So I I opened my insurance business. But I realized from the very, very beginning that marketing was going to be a very, very important,
Peace.
tremendous piece of my business. Okay? And so I made time to go out and get to know new people. We didn't have the internet. I didn't have the privilege of pressing a button and sending out 10,000 emails.
We're talking 1986, right?
Yeah, 1986, 1987.
Okay.
Okay.
Phone books,
Oh yeah, there
no
was that.
internet.
In order to get the properties, you had a
Thomas
book,
Guy.
Thomas Guide, this thick, and you had to. And if the prints weren't up to date, or if there was a new development, woo, good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, those
Were
are
cell
old.
phones around then?
Yeah, the cell phone's there, but you had a battery like those so big on it, and then the cell phone was huge too. I remember you had to, it was a big old battery, you had to plug into it, and it was like, if you had a console and if you had a side for the car, it took up a whole seat, essentially, or you had to put it on the ground. And it's the beginnings
Yeah.
when God created the heavens and the earth. But the story you're referring to, what happened here is I started marketing, okay? And at one point, I realized in the course of the business that um, real estate people were going to be a big influence in my business because they needed somebody they could trust, reliable, to close their escrows because they needed insurance for the properties. So I started marketing to real estate people. And there was this particular place that I would go to market all the time. I would take them cookies, pens, keychains, little knives with my name on it, all kinds of stuff. And I would always go there, but I would never have access to a particular part of that building, okay, where there was like an entry and you had to make a quick left, go to the back, but I never had access to that side of the building nor anything in that area. And every time that I saw something big going down, they would knock on that door and then they would allow people to go in. So you kind of had like have permission.
Yeah.
All right. So one morning, I go marketing and I go to this place, and lo and behold, that door was open. Not the regular side where all the agents were, but this private area. And I saw the door open and I said, wow. So I knew I wasn't supposed to go in there, but I said, hello, good morning, hello. I knock on the door, nobody answers. I keep walking in, I open the door slightly, hello, good morning, hello. And I keep walking all the way to the back. And then I see this office with this big, huge window that had been put there so that the person that was in there could see, everybody, the entire area in front of him. And there was a man in there. And he was busy. And I said, hello. Good morning, hello, good morning. And I walked up to the door of his office. And he looked up at me and he says, may I help you? And I said, yes, my name is so-and-so and I'm new in the insurance business. I've been open, I think I was open for a year or whatever. And I would love to earn your business. May I just give you a business card of mine, please? This and that. I knew I was talking to somebody very important. I just didn't know how important this person was at that time. And he said, yes, come in. So I come in, I shook hands with him. We introduced each other. I gave him a few of my business cards and a couple of little knives and pens and stuff. And I'll never forget it. And he doesn't forget it because now we've known each other for 38 years or something like that. And I reminded him of that story. He looked up and he said to me, how hungry are you? And I said to him, oh, I'm very hungry. Very hungry. And he said, okay. All right. Nice meeting you. I walk away. And I thought, well, that didn't turn out. It was quick. This was like, if it was 2 minutes, it's too long. I mean, quick. And I thought, well, that didn't turn out. I walk out thinking, that didn't turn out like but let's see. Lo and behold, the following week, I get a call. I don't think it was him directly, but it was somebody that worked for him. He says, hey, Mr. So-and-so said that you can do some business with him, so he's giving you this. And I said, okay. So he gives me 4 units to quote. 2 days, and I did it right away. 2 days later, and remember, at this stage of the game, I'm typing everything. I'm quoting everything, because this is the beginning. Like I said, when God created. But I did it right away. And so then 3 days later, I get a call and he says, listen, Mr. So-and-so would like you to insure 2 units here, 3 units here, and a single family home over here. And I said, sure. And I hang up the phone. I go, oh, wow. I did it. I kid you not. That month, I insured, I think, 12 properties for him. And it was one that was a triplex, another one a fourplex. It wasn't like single family homes.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, there was the file on this gentleman became so thick that I had to start another one. And then that one got so thick that I had to start another one. And remember, we're talking about when there were paper apps and stuff like that. So I ended up having, I believe, 6 files or something like that on this gentleman, this thick. At one point in time, I kid you not, I think I had somewhere around 380 to 400 properties insured for this gentleman. It was an amazing run. So that's that story. Okay? Now.
So that is a story of you being at the right place at the right time, along with being prepared because you were hungry and you were door knocking and going around and marketing, and you saw an opportunity to maybe meet someone who is usually behind what's it called when you have somebody at the front of an office that kind of is the
they weed out the
yeah there's a name for
the filter. They filter you out
essentially.
They won't.
Yeah.
But see, and so that door was never open. So I knew I was
gatekeeper.
The gatekeeper.
They're called the gatekeeper.
Okay. That door was never open. I wasn't supposed to go through that door, but I saw it open that day. And very respect. And by the way, this gentleman is extremely respectful. I mean, very down to earth. You would never know. Okay? humble gentleman. Okay, I hold him in very high esteem. But I said, hello, good morning, thank you. And I was
Yeah.
making my way back. And I'll tell you, when I walked out of there, I didn't think
Yeah.
that it was going to lead to much.
So that happens, and then how does that lead to the second story?
To the story that you are asking about. So, well, it leads to that story because I got a personal call from this gentleman saying, hey, I have someone that is an investor of mine. He's been working with me. He's got a few properties, okay? And he just had some kind of altercation. I'm not sure what happened, but he wants to change agents. Can you help? And I said, sure. And I said, oh, and he said, "Here, let me give you his name and phone number. Would you please give him a call right now?" And I said, yeah. And the funny thing about this call is that till today, I remember where I was. I was in my parents' home in the third room, and I picked up the call there. Either he called me and I left me a message, and I called him from that room because that's where I could have my privacy. It was a room, the color on the walls were yellow. My parents had painted that room yellow. Anyway, I was in that room and I made the call, and it was a red rotary phone. You know, the ones that you have to...
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I made that call from there. And then he gave me the number of this gentleman, and I called this gentleman. And he says, hi, you were referred by Mr. So-and-so. That was a big deal. And I said, yes, how can I help you? Yes, no problem. Let me know what you need. And he says, well, I've had an issue with my agent, and I'd like to switch. And it just so happens that I knew the person.
The agent.
He was someone that I knew. Okay? And but the client was adamant. He wanted to switch no matter what. And I knew the other person, and I knew he was a good person. Okay? I knew he was a good man. So the first thing I said to the client is, okay, no problem. I can help you. Can you give me a couple days? And he said, yeah, sure. But get back to me because I don't want to deal with this guy anymore, and I need to make payments and this and that, and I have a few properties. I said, sure. So then what I did was I called the agent. And I said, hey, listen, this is way back. Now the insurance carriers have, instituted new safety features because this could have been abused in the past, and it was. So now you can't change policies, but we won't get into that. But I called the guy, and I said, hey, listen, I got a phone call just by chance from this gentleman. He goes, oh, and, he's not happy at all, and he wants to change, and I want things very clear between us, because we know each other. And he said, yeah, take him. I don't want him either. And he said, you know what happened, Pablo? And I said, no, I don't know if you want to share it with me. He goes, look, he called really early in the morning. For some reason, the recorder didn't pick up. I started talking to him, and I've had this guy insured for a while, and all I said was, he said to me, you're answering the phone this early. And all I said to him, well, the recorder didn't pick up the line, and it's way before the hour. And he made a comment that didn't sit well, and it's not a professional comment, but it didn't sit well. It's not you don't.
He called him something.
Yeah.
We won't say it here.
Yeah, but the way it came out on the second shot was like, but you're never supposed to say something like this. It
To
was
a customer.
It was an inoffensive adjective.
Yeah.
Hey, you silly guy.
Yeah,
You.
something like that.
Yeah. And
But
I remember, and so the guy apparently got offended. And he told him right there and there, hey, you know what? You don't talk to me that way. And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, this and that. He said, okay, I'm going to cancel everything. Okay? And that's how I met the second gentleman. And he had a portfolio of 38 properties back then. And it grew, to I don't know what, but it grew more. Now, this gentleman was very active in another job, okay? And so he wasn't 100%, but he was with this other guy who was 100% into it. And so I ended up, and we called the company. The insurance agent signed off on everything. I got all the policies, and our friendship grew with both these folks. And so that's that particular story that you were asking about.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that only
because
came about because of my
it was a
intrepid.
referral. But yeah, because one could say, hey, well, maybe, hey, we're not perfect. We have bad days. We wake up in the morning, we say something. But this gentleman that got offended, the customer, I mean, which from my perspective, he has every right to take his business where he wants to. He got offended, and he didn't give the man a second chance.
No.
And the agent could have apologized and everything, but at that point it was too late.
Too late.
You don't get a second chance. And he was a very hard individual, strong character.
You dealt with him.
Yeah. He was a very strong character.
Strong
the
character.
Customer.
Yeah, strong
You
character.
You had to be on your A game anytime you spoke to him.
And every time
Which
that
is
I
good.
had a call, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Every time I had a call from him, I prepare mentally.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I knew the history, and I was extremely professional. And the interesting part is that this guy, okay, every time he called me, what I remember of him, he would always start our conversation with a joke.
Yeah. You guys got along.
Oh yeah, he would give me a joke all the time, and sometimes they were funny, and sometimes not so funny.
You
But
laugh
I'm here to
either way.
tell you today, I laughed at every single one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, but he would always.
Yeah.
It was amazing. He always had a different joke, and sometimes they were really funny, and
Yeah.
sometimes not so funny. But I laughed at everything.
But he was someone that you had to. He expected a very high level, and I think that's the thing is that he made you come up to that level, or he would probably not want to work with you.
Oh yeah,
So it was cool to see him at a later age, right? Because that's when I started working in the family business. It was much later, but. Did that agent that lost his customer, did he ever come back to you or say anything? Or?
Never.
No.
He was a good man. It's
Yeah.
just never.
He just messed up.
He just messed up.
Yeah.
He knew it. He knew it because he used a word that's not very polite.
Yeah.
But it was early in the morning. He was having his coffee. He knew the guy already. He knew the customer. So he felt comfortable. And then he blurted this out. And it didn't work for him. And the guy told him right there and there, hey, I don't appreciate that. And you know what? I'm gonna get another agent. I'm canceling everything.
Wow.
And he says, well, I mean, I didn't mean anything by it or whatever, but it didn't work for him. And so he happened to be connected with this very important man that was behind that office that I had, hello, excuse me. See, I knew I wasn't supposed to be in there. And if I would have gotten caught by one of the supervisors or managers,
They would have kicked you out.
They would have said, hey,
Have you been kicked out of offices before?
Oh, absolutely. It really builds your character. My Lord.
Oh, man.
I've got, and in some bad ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been kicked out of offices. I remember one time I was in Baldwin Park, and it was in a medical clinic. Actually, one time I was with you, but this particular time I was trying to get business from medical clinics because we had a good BOP policy, business owners policy for clinics, and actually for attorneys too. So when the company had a good policy and the rates were good, what I would do is I would concentrate on that. And then the commercial would always, if they were doing okay, they had a business, then they probably had homes and autos and this and that. So that was
So who kicked you out of that office? That was a medical office?
a medical office. The office manager.
Oh.
Yeah. Because there was a sign that said no soliciting. But I would go in anyway. Because if I go by every sign and everybody has a sign that says no soliciting, my marketing is dead. And a lot of times I got away with stuff.
Yeah.
But there was a sign that said no soliciting, and this guy was brutal. And he said, when he realized what I was doing, he says, well, what the heck are you doing here? Can't you read? You evidently can't read, right? Didn't you see that big sign on the door? And I said, oh, you know what? I didn't see it. My apologies, sir. This and that. And he goes, get out of here. And it was rough.
Oh, yeah. That'll shake you up.
Oh, yeah. You walk out. And you got to
wash it off somehow.
You got to let it go because it'll ruin your day.
Oh.
And I have been kicked out of many places.
Yeah.
Many places.
The time you and I got kicked out, can you refresh my memory? Because I vaguely remember.
Yeah. This was, I remember it very well. This was also a medical clinic. It was a medical clinic or a law office, but I think it was a medical clinic, and it was in Baldwin Park also.
When we got kicked out?
When we got kicked out. He didn't even let us get in. We were not able to walk in. And it's that big boulevard, off of Olive, I don't know, what is it? Maybe even Baldwin Park Boulevard, where they have the old, super old buildings with the businesses where you park at an angle.
Yeah.
And we had parked at an angle.
The walkways.
Right.
Yeah.
And he had come out of the medical clinic, and he was dressed sharp. And he was about to get into his car. And I went up to him, and I said...
We were marketing insurance.
Yes. And we said something to him, and he says, no, get out of here. In fact, that's my clinic. Don't even go in there. Okay? And you were with me. And then the one thing that got to you was that he happened to be parked right next to us. Or we happened to park right next to him. And when he got in his car, his window was raised. And he looked at us and he went, get out, just get out, even from his car. And that got to you.
I don't even remember. I vaguely remember. It's funny.
And you were young.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, 19, 18. You
19,
you were
20.
one of the first.
I was like 19 or 20 years old.
You got your state licenses, I think, at the age of 18.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you were one of the first.
Yeah, I was 19 and we were door knocking.
And so I remember that you mentioned to me, Dad, go out there and tell that man that you can buy him 10 times over.
Really? I said that?
Yeah. You were really... And I said to you, you know what, son? We're in his territory. We have passed his... His, what do you call it? His safety zone, right? You got 6 feet where...
Oh, yeah. His bubble.
Huh?
Like his bubble? Or
like in the old days, in the old days when they were teaching us to sell, they would say, be careful you don't penetrate the safety zone of a customer. Mm-hmm. And that might be 3 feet, that might be 4 feet.
Oh, but the comfort zone? Or
the comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's why
you don't want to get too close to people.
No, that's why every time I go door knocking, I go up to the door and I door knock, and then I step away, sometimes even 10 feet.
Yeah. 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 It's a
I
good
s-
it's a
you
good
step
habit.
away.
You don't want to be in people's face
No,
like
you don't
that.
want to be in the door.
Yeah.
You want to give people, because the idea is, I don't know this person. I don't know who this person is. I don't know why they're here. They might be coming here to do bad things. And so if I'm 10 feet away from the front door, they have time to lock and close
Yeah.
and lock that door. They feel safety.
You're less threatening,
Yeah,
and also your demeanor, how
right.
you approach and how you speak, your voice and stuff is
You put a
less.
smile on your face,
Yeah.
and sometimes they would just crack the door open.
Yeah.
He says, "Hi, good morning," and
That's interesting though. I don't really. I thought one time we were in a real estate office and I think we got kind of shooed out, um, but that's a while ago,
you don't
I
remember?
kind of some of that maybe just blurred some of that out.
Yeah, because it's hard.
Yeah. Well, rejection is difficult.
And the way he did it. See, you were all right with him kicking us out, not letting him, but where you were not
It
all
got to
right.
me.
Yet what got to you was that the man was in his car with the window raised.
Yeah.
He had already kicked us out. We were already not gonna go in there. It was plain as day that, but we looked at each other, and even from the car he goes, like, like that.
Wow.
Get the heck out of here, like that. And
Yeah.
then that's when you said, you know what, Dad? Go tell that
I don't remember that.
idiot. No, you don't?
I don't remember saying that.
Of course.
But you know,
it's
also,
not something that you would, it's not part of your, that's not something that it's within your DNA.
Well, I
It's
mean,
not in your character. So.
there's a lot of things that at that age I would say or do that I don't
That you don't
agree
practice
with
today.
now.
Same here.
Yeah, yeah. But it's really interesting, and and thank you for sharing those stories. And even though I wasn't there when those occurred, they impacted me hearing them, because I remember also early on in sales when I would get rejected or things like that, and I remember you saying, "Hey, it's just because I remember, one of them said, "Oh, I was selling life insurance. Oh, I got a financial advisor." And I remember you saying, "Yeah, but that financial advisor might retire tomorrow, or that financial advisor, God forbid, gets sick and has to leave the business, or whatever the case. Just because someone told you no today doesn't mean that might not lead to an opportunity in the future."
Correct.
And so it's like, okay, just figure out, you stay in touch or whatever you need to do, right?
And then you develop, I have an attorney friend of mine. You develop thick skin. I have an attorney friend of mine that I told this story to, and I think like 6 years later, he shared with me that, hey, you know that story you told me like 7 years ago, 8 years ago? I do that every time I go to my office. So when you're in sales, you need to develop thick skin. So what I would do is, and I share this with him, and kind of crazy stuff that you do to be able to get through to the day, because,
It's like mind hacks,
mind over
tricks.
matter. Every time I put the key into my deadbolt to go into my office, because I would go in through the back door, before I turned that key, I would think, okay, now I have a cover, a protection, a metal thing. Shh. I'm ready to take on the day. Then
Yeah,
I would
you
turn
are
the key.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, people would tell you, hey, you're stupid. Hey, you're an idiot. They said, poop, poop, poop. They just bounce off of me.
Yeah.
I have my shield that I put on before I turn that deadbolt and I walk into my office.
Yeah.
The life of a salesman can be brutal.
Yeah.
There's people out there from all walks of life experiencing God knows what challenges.
Yeah.
And the last thing they want to do, potentially, if they're hurting,
Yeah.
is hear the spiel from a salesman.
Yeah. You never know what someone's going through.
Right. So you have to respect everybody.
And also, as a salesman, learning when you made a mistake, and maybe you went too far, you crossed a certain line, and understanding that and people's space, and they're respecting their time, and also all of that's really important, because if you're just like, I've seen some people, I mean, I'll be at the grocery store or whatever, and some people come up to you and they're trying to sell you a multi-level
Oh,
marketing or something, but they're
can
they're
you
so
imagine?
aggressive that it turns you off.
Right.
And that's the thing, that eventually being aggressive but also finding your own way where you're still respectful of people. And if they tell you no, that's okay. You don't take it personal.
No.
But it's hard initially. You
Right.
take at least me. I would take it personal. It's like, you know.
Well, I had fortunately good mentors. There was a guy that he sold a ton of life insurance, a ton. And I remember going up to him and say his first name was Bill. Hey, Bill, can I take you out to lunch? And he would look at me and say, I don't eat lunch. But I went back and I said, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? I don't drink coffee. Just like that.
He was messing with you.
He was very serious, but he was the top sales. But one day I got him. I said, man, you don't have breakfast. You don't have lunch. Do you eat dinner? And he looked at me and he says, what do you want? And I go, I'd like to, take you out, have a cup of coffee in a relaxed setting and pick your brains. Because, I like to know how you get to these levels. And he said, all right, Pablo, breakfast Wednesday at 8. And he gave me some place that it no longer exists. It's been knocked down, and it was in South Pasadena. It's no longer there. I don't even know the name. And in that meeting, it was revolutionary for me. It was tremendous, because what he would do was he would begin his presentation, and the minute that the client said, oh, I like that, he would say, great. He would pick up the contract and start writing the application.
Filling it out.
And he explained it to me. He says, if my client says, I like that, or he says, that sounds good, or, that, yeah. It doesn't matter if I was a minute into my presentation, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. His presentations weren't long, okay?
Yeah.
10 minutes into the minute that he got an inkling, either from word of mouth or body language. Oh, you like what you hear? Yeah, okay. That was it.
Wow.
And
That's powerful.
I never forgot it.
He knew when to stop talking.
Most of the times, people felt comfortable with him like almost immediately. He says, I have a 10-minute presentation. I've never finished it. And I learned that from him.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's the psychology of it. And, I even tell people, because some people, like right now with all kinds of stuff that I'm doing, people are pitching me all kinds of stuff constantly. And sometimes I like it. And they keep going and going and going. I tell people, hey, listen, I'm already going to buy. Don't keep reselling me because it's...
Yeah, you're overselling it, and you could talk yourself out of a deal.
Absolutely. And that's happened with me. I've oversold and I thought they didn't buy from me. And it's also happened where I'm buying and they keep talking and they don't get it and I won't.
Right.
Because it says something about the individual too.
They're not listening.
They're not listening.
Wow. Yeah, that's a skill that in sales is it's great to learn it early on. And the fact that he took you out and shared that with you, that I think that's, those are the things. That's why they say a mentor or somebody that you can pick their brain can help you advance quickly,
And, Bill was extremely knowledgeable. It's not just that sales. I mean, that was...
Oh, yeah. He
but
had to
but
know
he
his stuff.
oh, he knew his stuff at a very high level.
Sure, sure.
He was dealing with businesses. He was doing buy and sell agreements.
Yeah,
He was funding trusts.
yeah,
He was doing that.
yeah,
Very. So
yeah. But it's the psychology of sales, and just knowing when, hey, they say yes, stop wasting their time. Get into. But sometimes we have like a spiel that we need to.
you
As
want
a
to finish it.
salesperson, you think you need to finish it. You
Yeah.
don't.
Because you put time and effort. You're proud of your spiel, and
Yeah, it's more of an ego thing.
I remember a guy, and he had good production too. Okay. And I remember him allowing me to sit in on one of his sessions with a client, and the client says, okay, I'll take it. And then he tells it, wait a minute, I'm not done with my
Oh
presentation.
my gosh, that's horrible. That's
I'm
horrible.
not done. I still got another 5 minutes to go. Or something like that. I don't remember I'm
Yeah.
I'm going way back, Mike, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of fun in my career.
sales can be very rewarding.
It can be, and
Yeah,
we've made friends that have become almost like family, and great experiences. And with that comes also some
challenges
Oh yeah,
always. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing those stories and
and thank you for sharing too. You have your own. Yeah.
yeah. Cool. We'll wrap it up there.
Okay.